Okay, so today I will show you the major components of the car and how it makes the car run. First things first, we got the engine here. This is the heart of the car. This is what makes the whole car move. It uses a chemical mixture, and the chemical mixture produces power in it and puts power into the wheels, which makes the whole car move. And essentially, air comes in this box, travels through this hose into the intake manifold, and once inside here, it combusts, or it gets squeezed in here, and it can create a bunch of pressure. And then when the piston comes back up, it creates a combustion, sending it out the exhaust, which makes the car move. That's essentially how the engine works. This is basically the lifeblood. Okay, so another thing I forgot to mention in the video before is this is the mechanical portion of it. This converts chemical energy to mechanical energy, and the battery right here, this controls everything electrical in this car. This is the secondary lifeblood of this car. Without this battery and without the engine, the car wouldn't work. Over here, we have the fuse relay box, and this contains a bunch of fuses that control a whole bunch of different points in the car. There's one underneath the hood and one underneath the dash, but right now I'm showing the one underneath the hood. And basically, the battery and the engine, these two are what control the whole car. Without these two, they won't work, or the car won't work. Okay, so the next thing on the list is this transmission. Now, being this is a manual transmission car, the only way it's going to move is if it's in gear. Now, the transmission is what takes the power of the engine and puts it into the wheels. Because as you see right here, the axle right here is connected to both tires. And being that this is front wheel drive, it'll spin both tires when the car is in gear. Okay, so now continuing on, we're going to go over the steering, the suspension, and the brakes. Now, right here, we have a component called the tie rod end. Now, the tie rod end is connected to a steering knuckle, which is inside the car, and that connects to the steering wheel. And that, in turn, whenever you turn the wheel, it turns the wheels here, the whole hub assembly, left or right. And back here, you have your suspension. Now, this is called a McPherson strut, and this is your coil. The suspension, basically, whenever you go over potholes or speed bumps or anything in the road that would cause your whole car to shake, that would absorb the shock, or the impact, of that bump, causing the whole car to still be level and not bottom the car out. Then right here, we have the brake rotor, and this is attached to the wheel and the whole hub assembly. Right here we have the brake pad, and here we have the brake caliper. Now, the brake caliper has a piston assembly in it. This is the piston right here, which compresses onto the brake pads. There's one inside or outside the rotor here and one inside that compresses onto the rotor, and that's what causes the car's centripetal force to slow down. Okay, so now we've moved to an automatic transmission car, and the difference between the automatic and a manual is the manual has a clutch, the automatic does not. Another thing is the manual, you have to leave it in neutral in order for it to park straight. The automatic, it's constantly in park, which means it's always in gear. And that's how it's driven. It's got the same type of thing. It's got an automatic transaxle going to both the wheels. This one's front wheel drive, but so